Thank you, Johanna. Honoured speakers and guests, I would first and foremost like to thank you for following the UNPO's invitation to attend this event, which aims to raise awareness about the ongoing human rights abuses in Balochistan and the structural causes of the situation. Ladies and gentlemen, human rights abuses have been taking place in the region for many decades, and Balochistan is no exception. The Baloch people's right to self-determination remains denied since March 1948, and their voice continues to be silenced by the Pakistani military and intelligence services, who aim to gain from the instability in the region and usurp Balochistan's economic wealth and resources. As if the human rights situation wasn't bad enough, legislation that does not conform with international human rights standards has offered a kind of carte blanche, if you may, to the Pakistani military and other agencies to tighten the screws on the Baloch people and commit horrendous crimes under false pretext, worsening and ongoing slow-motion genocide. The establishment of powerful military courts to hear cases will further deteriorate the human rights situation, as dissidents, including peaceful and moderate political workers and human rights defenders, will be targeted and suppressed. A blatant military override of the judicial system in a country that many around the world still surprisingly consider a democracy should be an eye-opener for the world. Pakistan is a country where the military alone is the judge, jury and executioner. The sad result, at the end of the day, is that too many people have to live with severe constraints on their political, social and cultural freedom and are constantly under the threat of falling victim to arbitrary state-sponsored violence and oppression. Gross human rights violations against Baloch people, such as torture, arbitrary detention, harassment, mass displacement, enforced disappearances, and extrajudicial killings, are the order of the day in Pakistan. Anyone who dares to hold opposing views to Islamabad and the military establishment on the issue becomes a potential target of the state authorities, even those who are not politically active, whether they are Baloch, Sindhi, Pashtun, Kashmiri, Saraiki, Gilgiti, Muhajir, or Punjabi. Despite the importance and implications of the problem, the international community and the media pay only marginal or no attention to the Baloch people's plight. Unfortunately, as Pakistan is falsely considered one of the key allies of the West, Western powers are forced to leave these blatant human rights abuses largely unaddressed. At the same time, domestic and international media coverage is virtually non-existent. While Baloch journalists are systematically intimidated, silenced, and persecuted by the Pakistani authorities, international journalists are kept out of the picture by simply being refused access to the region. A growing threat for the secular Baloch nation is that of state-sponsored fundamentalism in Balochistan. The state's intelligence agencies continue to breed and sponsor rogue elements to systematically counter nationalism, weaken secular and progressive forces in the region, to erode the political, social, and cultural structure of Balochistan, but to also strengthen its hold on the rest of the region. Despite the importance of these issues, the Baloch plight has been largely left unaddressed, and Pakistan is still considered to be a key ally in the war on terror. As the Pakistan Army recognizes its importance in this war and the leverage and influence it has because of this, it has been able to play a double game by promoting and abetting the growth of extremism and terrorism to perpetuate its own geopolitical significance and strengthen the military establishment's hegemony over the state's affairs. Pakistan's deep state has thrived on terror and blackmailing. In the last 15 years, Pakistan has clearly proven to be part of the problem, not the solution. The Baloch face overwhelming odds with assaults on their rights from all sides. The Pakistani military blatantly represses and kills at will state-sponsored rogue fundamentalist elements, hunt Baloch nationalists, and forcibly shut down secular and progressive schools and women's educational centers. Peaceful protesters are suppressed, political representatives arbitrarily detained, and the freedom of expression and assembly totally denied. Whereas radical elements sympathetic to and supportive to the Taliban are given a free hand to operate openly and promote their corrupt and sinister ideology. As if these scourges weren't enough, China has added fuel to the fire by entering into a dirty pact with the federal government and the civil military establishment to construct and run the geostrategic Gwadar port as part of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Whilst completely ignoring the Baloch, Pakistan is desperate to establish the port as it is part of its strategy to cause a demographic imbalance, thereby ultimately converting the Baloch people into a minority in their ancestral homeland and further marginalize them. The Chinese government has therefore significantly contributed to the plight and alienation of the locals by not taking their interests into consideration and have displayed utter indifference towards Pakistan's non-obligation to respect human rights. Pakistan is also comfortable with having an economic partnership with China since China does not raise questions on human rights. They both share this element that they both have no respect for human rights. And the world must not turn a blind eye to the Baloch people's sufferings. After all, the Pakistani authorities are not only destroying the social fabric and future of the Baloch society, but they simultaneously endanger peace, stability, security, and genuine development in the region at large by holding it at ransom. It is thus imperative to direct international attention to Balochistan and find a peaceful and sustainable solution to the conflict, part of which can be facilitated through genuine support by the UN for the Baloch people's progressive struggle for rights, justice, equality, and self-determination. The Baloch people aspire for a peaceful, democratic, nuclear-free, and secular and enlightened Balochistan, a place that can not only play a role in enhancing peace and stability in the wider region, but becoming a beacon of development and progress. The Baloch hope for a land where human life is valued greatly, where people aren't discriminated against based on their race, gender, creed, or color, where people of all faiths can live with equality and in harmony, where the rights of minorities and the vulnerable are strongly protected, where people have the right to live and prosper. I hope the insights that will be shared here today will bring us one step closer to understanding what is needed to make the international community and the United Nations bring an end to the atrocities committed against the Baloch people. I hope that today's event will offer an inspiring platform for fruitful discussions, and that it will allow the participants to voice their concerns and share their perspectives about the continuing crisis in Balochistan. I would now once again like to extend my warm welcome and thank you all and our speakers and participants. Let me also thank our partner, the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization and the Non-Violent Radical Party, whose efforts were essential to organizing this event. Again, thank you for your participation, and I wish you all an insightful conference.